Welcome to another edition of Interruptions. I'm your host, Otis Smith. Today I got a treat. I got another R&B smooth guy. I love this guy. I love this guy. He's in the same class as Raheem Devon. He's in the same class as Will Downing. You heard songs like Dealing, Borrow You, Picture Perfect, his latest project, and I'm feeling the single of it, Lessons. I'm talking to no other than the smooth, exquisite Eric Roberson. How you doing?
Hey,
Roberson, excuse me.
no, it's all good. You know, in the South they say Robertson, in the North they say Roberson. So I'll take it all, man.
You take it out. Now I like to pronounce people's name wrong. Trust me, my name Otis, and I have people say LD, the Elvis. I was like, where you get Elvis from?
Elvis.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm blessed, man. Good to talk with you.
Good to talk. I forgot to
How
tell you,
about you? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Nice weather. Nice weather we have. A little windy, but it's
Lucky,
still nice.
lucky you. Lucky you. It's brick freezing here.
Where are you?
I'm in New Jersey, man.
I'm
It's
praying
it
for
is
you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying
it's
for you.
as
I'm
cold
praying.
as cold right now.
I'm praying for you. So tell me about the new project, Lessons.
You know, I often try not to take credit for writing anymore or creating. I'm more about finding. I believe I'm more find things. I work at putting it together.
Hmm.
And really the song lessons came from me just finding inspiration, thinking about my wife, thinking about my kids. And then the rest of the album, I think, we were on a beautiful area in writing, and the rest of the album kind of followed through that. We got such a great response from the song lessons, which really sparked. I wasn't really even thinking about making an album at the time, but when the world knocks on your door, you it's
Sure.
best to answer. So um, we had a great time, man. Had some great friends really joined through this, and I'm just excited now that the pandemic is hopefully coming to a close and
Sure.
ending up. We're getting back on the road now, and still being somewhat careful, but we can
Please
get out
do.
here and bring this music to the world, man. So we're having a good time doing that.
What I'm enjoying about your music, man, I was in a vibe because a lot of times before I come up with my questions, I like to do two things: watch interviews that the person I'm going to interview has done, so I don't ask all the same questions.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I like to someone like yourself, an artist, listen to the music. And man, I was rocking out, vibing so good, man. I hadn't even wrote any questions. I was just vibing. What I like about your music, man, it takes me back to that place that I try to teach my girls with whoever they're dating. It's the whole romance thing where
Yeah.
you remember Eric, like, and you probably still do this because I do. So sometimes you could be in the car with the fellas or whatever, and you may play some hip hop, you may play some up tempo stuff, and you rocking out, jazzing out, right? But when you with your lady, sometimes you want to smooth that thing out because I'm trying to cuddle. I'm not trying to. Back in the day, man, I could be with the fellas. We could listen to Public Enemy. We could listen to
Yeah.
NWA. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we were
Yeah.
going to pick up some girls, at that time, hey man, let me put in some guys, put in some Al We Sure, Key Sweat. Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah, we got to
Indeed.
change this up, man. And I appreciate
Right.
you for the style and the music that you play because I can bring my wife to your
Mm,
concert and have
mm.
a good time and romance because I've been married 23 years, but I still got to keep dating.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's right. Woo, I love that statement. Yeah, we married 23 years, but I still got to keep dating. I
I
love
gotta
that.
keep. Oh
You're
yeah, I
absolutely
gotta
right.
keep. Yeah, because what you did year one, year 23, what you did year one ain't gonna work.
No,
You know
never
that
lie.
for yourself.
You ain't never lie about that. She like, oh, that moved again.
Again. what it,
No,
what
I
is
love it.
what inspires you to write songs? Like what gets you when you, because I know you said with lessons you weren't really trying to write an album. So
Yeah.
what inspires you, or what gets you going to say and just start writing? You may not know it's a song yet, but just get you to start writing.
Well, I think that's the magic of it. I think I'm writing all the time.
Hmm.
Whether it's an album, whether it's a song, I try
Hmm.
to write without obligation.
Okay.
So I'm writing poems, writing essays, just writing whatever. And what happens is in the writing, um, something is going to move you. Something's going to take your breath away. And that's the moment I go, huh, well, I wonder if I take that and put that to something. Let's try to expound more on that. And at the same time, my number one job as a songwriter is just to stay observant, just stay open,
Okay.
and be willing to be as transparent and write about my low day, write about my high day. But yet at the same time,
Mm,
I'm studying you. I'm studying your wife. I'm studying those who come to the shows. I'm studying people at the red lights, and I'm trying to say, wonder what their story is, and just taking a minute because I don't believe in writer's block. I think there's a million songs to write about. I think there's in this room right now, I'm all by myself, but there's stuff to write about. What happens is oftentimes we'll see something and it might intrigue us to some degree, but even at the smallest level of doubt goes, nobody wants to hear a song about a hat. Nobody wants to hear a song about a
right.
fire hydrant. Nobody wants to hear a
Hmm.
song about the moon following you on the way home. Like, but
Sure.
if you have the idea, like kind of chasing it. So my inspiration really comes from all things. I mean, I write about everything. I write about my kids, my wife, write about my friends and their ups and downs. And I write what I see on TV, and just through the basic conversations I have, I'm constantly trying to go. And then what happens to the creativity, something catches, and that
Okay.
usually goes, oh, okay. I think I might be doing an album. Like, when you get to this little streak, you knocked out 4 or 5 songs, and they all have this
Wow.
this theme under it. You
Okay.
go, am I doing an album? Huh? When I did lessons, probably only a couple of days later, maybe 4 or 5 days later, I did a song called Everything that's on the album. And when you hear it, I
Okay.
think you'll see that it's like it really complements it that I was in this certain zone. And finding my way, and that was the wake up call. That was kind of like the, oh, okay, I think I know what I'm
Mhm.
doing now. I think this is the album. And that's more for me. I don't necessarily put a huge plan out there.
Sure.
I'd more kind of stay in the creativity, and then it tells me when it's an album, or it tells me where the creativity is going, and stuff like that, and I just follow its lead. It's never let me wrong this way, so I keep doing it,
Wow.
keep trusting it.
I just no, I had a thought when you were saying that. I said, man, what if Eric would have, because I've been doing this thing also with marriages, where like I had the opportunity to interview Tony Grant and Trisha Mann Grant, and then
Mm.
Shirley Murdoch and her husband Dale. And
Oh
so
yeah.
if
Wow.
people in the same industry, right? And then just like, how do you guys meet and how does the story? So when you were saying that far as being observant, I was like, man, what if he would have been listening to that? What would he have wrote out of that? It just thought to me when you were saying you write sometimes just out of observing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a million things to pull from, and I think if I was at that event like that, I mean, that's the thing. How many times someone says something really impactful? Just the other day, we were shooting a music video for one of the one of the songs,
Okay.
and a young lady there was having a conversation, and she said the line, um, "I know he's the one I want to be with forever. I just don't want to be with him right now." God, Lee, it is like it was
Woo!
so it was so impactful. But oftentimes we hear a line and we just walk away. I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's capitalize that. Mean more. Like, tell me more. Like, give me more. Because that's a song. You know what I
Is
mean?
that
It's
is
like,
that? But let me ask you this: is that up tempo though? I'm just thinking it's an up tempo.
oh, we can make it either way. Because understand it this way. So it's funny you say that because an up tempo is going to be a certain character, there'll be a certain edge to that. That line means different things.
Right.
If it's a ballad to me would almost be almost like walking away. Up tempo
I
would almost
just
be challenging him to be more like we want him to be in the future. You know what I mean, or whatever. So it means different things based off of
right the
how it's said. Yeah. So, to me the same way is like music at the end of the day, the music part of writing songs, the production, to me should set where the song is at. Are we outside? Are we inside? Is it nighttime? Is it
okay.
daytime? Is it cold? Is it hot? Are we by the pool? Are we in church? Whatever. And that's a lot of times if somebody gave me music, I'm gonna listen that way. Like, all right, where am I in this music? And the music would tell me that part, and then it's like, oh, now who am I in that part? Okay, it's nighttime. I mean, I'm at his at my lover's house by ourselves at night. Okay, now who am I in that bedroom? You know what I mean, or something
I
like
got you.
that. Um, so when it's right, so if you tell me that, okay, we're gonna make it from an up tempo, and I go, all right, where are we? When we're doing that,
I get well.
So
Listen, she gave you one. I'm gonna give you another one, so you can put it
let's
on the next
go,
app. The title.
let's go.
It's something that I always say, which is I've already won.
Yes, woo, that's beautiful. From
I've
the day I
already
met you, I already won. Yeah,
I
yeah,
already
I
won
get it.
because yeah, you get it because far as us both being married, and when you
Mm-hmm.
have single friends, a lot of times people trying to like act like there's something else out there in the streets, and
Mm,
my thing has always been, man, I've already won. The hardest thing
yeah.
I always say, the hardest thing for people today is to realize you've already got the right one. You've won. You you keep
What?
looking, but you won.
Yeah. Well, a lot of marriage and just life in general comes down to just perception.
Hmm.
Like how strong you can keep. And I'm on a perception diet. I'll tell you. I mean, and I often say this, like from the moment I
Hmm.
watched my wife have my first child, and
Okay.
we got three boys now. But when I saw her
Okay.
go through the pain of the first child,
Hmm.
she was good from that point on. you know, she she got me now. Listen, the score, I can't even catch the score. The score, she got too many points now. You know what I mean?
I know what
And
you
but
mean.
it, but it meant a lot. It meant a lot. And I think a lot of it is if I strengthen my perception, or if us as men strengthen our perception and know how much she went through to give me that level of joy that she gave me. Man, I keep that perception healthy about her. You know, and
That's
mind you, I don't
good.
mean everything is always perfect, but
I know
that
what you
state
mean.
that's always there. So I love it when you look at that I already won is a perception, is a strength. And the perception is the first thought of belief and faith. I love that, man. Yeah, all right, cool. I got it, man. My
Okay.
homies want to go out and have some fun. I say I'm gonna stay home because I already won. Let's go.
Woo!
Let's go.
Hey, when you shoot the video, just call me.
I got you, bro.
Hey,
I
look, I
got
ain't got
you.
to be the main character. I just walk by or something. I don't want nothing.
I
tell
love it.
me,
I love it.
tell me about your guy J Bo on the guitar.
Whoo, man. What's amazing. So he's really, man, making such an impact. He's done stuff on Lettucey and Kendrick. He's had a really big year, let alone just my song. And he's a hustler. He's making like beat packs and like guitar. Like you can just buy a guitar loop pack from him. This song started from the producers who did the song Lessons, Anakin and Vader, that's their names. They bought a loop pack, like just
Okay.
a pack of like just guitar licks,
Okay.
and that's how they built Lessons. Of course, they played keys around it and bass
Hmm.
and drums. But I've known J Mo. So J Mo's dad taught my former guitar player how to play guitar.
Okay.
His dad was from Philly. J Mo lives in California.
Okay.
So every time we would come to California, we would put him in the band. He would come and tour with us.
Okay.
Come up New York, Bay Area, whatever. And he was probably 15,
Oh wow.
16, 15 years old. He was a kid. He was a kid, but he could play. I mean, he could play so well that, I mean, not even knowing the show like that, we would just, whenever we came to California, from the moment we landed, we scooped him up, and whatever shows we did in that little span, he played with us, and that was for a few years, and now look at him now, he's a grown man, great businessman, and still a phenomenal guitar player, and he just plays with a lot of history in his hands, a lot of soul in his playing. It's
Oh yeah.
he tells a story already. So it's easy to write to his music because he's already telling a story.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Now I'm gonna throw you off right quick now, because I want you to tell me about this person right here.
Which one? The one to the left or the one to the right?
Well, we already
my,
talked to the one to the
yeah, we
right.
talk. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Well,
tell me about your wife and how she improves your life.
that's funny you say that because really before I met my wife, I was a struggling artist, and not even just in the consistency. I had a lot of success in songwriting and production and stuff like that, But from the moment I met her, it's all been uphill. It's all been, I mean, we've all had our tough days or whatever, but my career has only went up. And I think a lot of it is because she's a hustler as well.
Mm-hmm.
She's a hard worker, she's a planner.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that, parenting is hard. Marriage is
Right.
not always easy,
Right.
but it's easier when you got the right partner. Marriage is
Correct.
easier. And at the same time, I'm touring, I'm putting out music, I'm constantly in the studio, stuff like that. And it takes the right partner. It takes the right partner. And she's one who understands when I'm pushing for a deadline or when my mind is drifting off and got all
Mm-hmm.
these ideas ricocheting in my brain. Um, and the best thing I can say is, man, from the moment I met her, I never got tired of her. Not one time. I could sit with her all day and just never get bored. We'll be on the phone even right now. She's in New York with her
Mm-hmm.
mom,
Mm-hmm.
and at no point am I want to get off the phone with her. Sure, I'll let her off the phone so she could do some work. I could do some work, whatever.
Right.
But it's never like, all right, okay. You know what I mean? I've
Right.
never ever, and I can see myself growing old with her. So that's
I
the
told you. You
yeah,
already
that's
won.
I'm already won. Yeah, yeah. Woo!
I
I already
told you.
won.
You
I
already.
love it. I love it.
What is
I
the
love it.
process? What is the process in the interworkings when you're writing for somebody like Jill Scott, Music Soul Child, and Vivian Green? How do you put those, even though they're similar
Yeah,
in I guess the genre of music, but
yeah.
different singers?
I think a little bit is different in different ways. What I will tell you is that with say like a Vivian Green, we really shaped it. We really studied like where she was at in her life and what she was going through, and really try to shape it. I really considered her tremendously before we wrote.
Okay.
Where with music, and maybe because we have similar ideas in influences,
Hmm.
a lot of times I think music came to me when he wanted something different than what he heard. Right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I had a different perspective of how I wrote or whatever. So he's like, I like that. Let me try that. So it ranges differently. I think, even like right now, there's plenty of times where I would say, I might go in the studio and go, if I was writing a song for Prince today, what would I write? If I was writing a song for Will, what would I write? Because it would take me out of my comfort zone and it would bring me to a different perspective. And as a
Mm.
songwriter, yeah, sure. My early part of my career, I would do a lot of that. When I was writing, like, okay, I'm trying to pitch to Charlie Wilson. What would Charlie Wilson want to hear?
Hmm.
Now, through my years of like writing, I think I have a certain style. So now, if
Hmm.
someone wants that style, and wants that direction, then I think that's usually when I get called now. So it's a little different, but that's the two perspectives. A lot of it is the first part is listen to who they are and where their life is right now,
Sure.
and then try to write that. If you want to land a song,
Hmm.
try to spend some time with them first and try to get. So back in the day when I was a songwriter, I usually would just try to write a song to get your attention, to
Hmm.
get me in the room. And once
Hmm.
I'm in the room, now I'm studying you so I can write the whole album. That's my
Gotcha.
my my goal is like I'm gonna write for you till you kick me out.
Okay.
you know?
I need more than one credit because I don't know
Oh, well,
which
one
one.
more.
Because I don't know which one gonna be. Gonna go. The people gonna really love. So I just need to do the whole
Right.
album. I
Right.
I see.
Right.
I see. Um, who were you when you first started, and how have you
oh.
matured since you've been in this industry?
I was a person who didn't know what I wanted when I started. I was a person who was chasing attention, fame, chasing dreams. I knew I loved music, but I didn't understand what success could be or would be. And I was a person who honestly wasn't ready yet, wasn't prepared. I needed some of the failures that happened. I needed some of the record deals to not work out. Any record deal, any song could pop, but I wasn't the writer I am today to continue on a career like I would
Okay.
love to have. So
Okay.
some of the setbacks allowed me the time to really think, well, okay, well, that didn't work. Well, the next situation, what would you like that to be? And that led to, well, what do you want? And then the more of that led to, well, what is success? How do you perceive success? What fulfillment do you want out of this? I answered
Mhm.
all those questions, and each time I answered all those questions, it gave me more clarity of who I was and what I wanted. And I'll honestly say, I mean, everything I'm based off of, how I make my music now, the business choices I make are
Mhm.
based off of that now, based off of how I perceive success
Okay.
and the fulfillment I get from creating, more than anything. But um, I'm thankful that a lot of the stuff in the beginning didn't work out, because I wouldn't be here talking to you now. I wouldn't still be in the music business, because I wasn't able to sustain it then. I would have
Gotcha.
been writing to sustain rather than um, sustaining it and writing and letting you just enjoy my journey. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's a good question, man. Yeah, I wasn't. I was a kid who wasn't ready yet. That's what when I started. That's the best way to answer.
I'm about to hit you with another one now. This
Okay.
question here is kind of a question that has to do with what happened at the Oscars, but
Okay.
also
Let's go. Let's
but
go.
also the question also has to deal with, I saw an interview you did and you talked about how everyone gives you credit, for being an independent artist, right? And you talked
Yeah.
about how, yeah, but I had some failure because I either got dropped or couldn't get signed. So
Right.
the question is, how did you keep your sanity?
Ooh. Okay. The first part, how I kept my sanity, and I can't say I always did. You know, what I would tell you is that even in the moments where I didn't keep my sanity, I wrote about it. I think the main thing is I've always kept a strong understanding of, this is what I love to do. This has been the soundtrack of my life. This has been my best therapist, my
Hmm.
best friend in my ear. So in the times when it really came dark, in the times where I really faced failure, at no point did I ever blame the music. You know what I mean? The record deal
Gotcha.
didn't work out. Me and Jazzy Jeff talk about this all the time. We'll meet somebody and say the record deal didn't work out, so they stopped doing music. And we say, well, what did music do to you? Your manager robbed you of some money, so you stopped doing music. Okay, I see your manager did that to you, but what did music do to you? Why did you stop doing music? And I think the one part for my sanity is that I lean towards that. I've been fortunate to have success and be able to take care of my family through music, but maybe never to the success that a Will Smith would have to handle. That's a different level of handling stuff.
Well, the reason I asked that
And
question with that because it was just about the sanity, not necessarily about will, but just when I saw that, like I always ask artists because of whether you're an actor or a
yeah,
musician like yourself or an athlete, because I interview people through different genres, ministers. It's always excuse me, there's some type of
mhm,
pressure there, right?
right,
And so how do you keep your sanity, because Will Downing told me, he said, I never changed. I just knew
yeah,
what I was good at and I just stay in that pocket.
yeah.
And my people are going to want what they want from me. So I don't have to try to change to quote unquote what the times are and how somebody, is doing music. He said, I just stay in my pocket. And the people that love me and support me will get me.
Well, I think the other tough part is that, and I think the music business is really set up the wrong way. It's set up in a standpoint of that what you do is based off of how valid you are, if you should be around. If I sold 2 million records this time, the next record I sold 5 million records, but then the next album after that I sold 2 million of records again, then that meant I failed and it's over. And I think it shouldn't be that every project has to top the next project.
Right.
Everything should have ebb and flows and just do the careers of whatever. And we have this thing where you reach a certain level of success, you get a big advance, but you have to have another big, it has to be bigger than that one to get a big advance. And it's all set up to eventually fail. And
Mm,
when you eventually fail,
hmm.
everyone in that system looks at you like you're not worth it anymore. And that's
Mm,
tough when initially they bring you in and say, you're worth it, you're worth it, you're worth it. And then he goes, you're not worth it anymore. Or the phone stops ringing. And that can mess with your psyche. That can mess with your psyche. And I've seen a lot of people crumble under that. And I think, even with the will aspect,
hmm.
that level of popularity, that level of scrutiny, that level of being in the limelight, everyone having an opinion, everyone having, so even when you have an opinion or when you're going through something,
Right.
it's on Front Street and everyone has something to say about it. And listen, everybody has a limit. Everyone, everyone
Yeah.
has a limit. They might not act that the way the way he
I know
did,
what you mean. I know what you
but
mean.
everybody
Everybody.
has a limit. And I think that even that, I mean, I'm not one who's trying to ask for much more. I'm very satisfied. Like I said, I already won.
I already
So
I
I
told you.
can get on stage and have who wants to see me there, but yet I can walk with my kids down the street and not get chased. Will doesn't have that option.
Right.
And that's a whole another aspect. So what I would tell you, I mean, the part of the sanity that I really have is, one, I thank God for what's in my head and I thank God for what's not in my head. I thank God for the
Mm.
thoughts I have and I thank God for the thoughts I don't have.
Wow.
And at no point in all honesty, whether before all this stuff came out, did I ever, and I've worked with Will Smith, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So at no point have I ever looked at Will and wanted what he had. At no point have I ever looked at Will and Jada and wished my marriage was like his or wish I had a
Right.
Jada.
Right. Right.
I think everybody has to focus on their own. Focus on the thoughts in your head and the person in your bed. You know what I mean? And hopefully you can say, like we say, oh, I already won.
I already
And
won, man.
and if you can't say that, what do you need to do to win? Right? But everybody's an individual, man. Everybody's going through something. Will's book was very open, eye opening for me. But we all have struggles. We all have things we need to work on.
Right.
I think for me, most of the stuff I have to work on shows up in my music.
And see,
And
I'm glad you said said that, because I tell people this podcast has always been my therapy. And so, like
mm,
with you, like you said, your music and writing can be very therapeutic, but everybody doesn't have that.
no,
So, because you just said something, man, just blew my mind, and that's why I love doing these interviews, because it's another thought to think about. Which, when you said, I also thank God for what is not in my head.
yeah,
See, a lot of
yeah,
times we're trying to get something in our head or in our psyche, but we forget to thank God what's not in your psyche, what's not a thought for you. And
yeah.
that's an awesome thing to be able to thank God for. That I'm glad I ain't had that in my head. And I always tell
No,
people, my show is a safe place, because I'm never here to bash anybody or anything, because I always say, and you said it, I say the difference between me and other people is that they know who they are. So, the Bible says, judge, let's not, you be a judge according to the same measure that you're judging
yes,
somebody, just
amen.
to paraphrase it. So, you know, um, you coming to the ATL, man. How can I, man? I got to see you, bro. How can I see you, bro?
So look, I'll make sure Raphael hook it. Raphael's coming with us. So this trip you won't be at. This trip you seem like you first of all, congratulations on having another
Hold on,
grandchild.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
I ain't trying to get in trouble either. I ain't trying to get in trouble either. So that's all good, man.
Well, I'll reach out to I'll Raphael, and,
Yeah.
and try to get something done, and I
No, we're gonna make
appreciate
it
you coming.
happen.
Okay, I appreciate you coming up on the show, man, blessing us with your presence, man. I love to have you back on the show, man. I just followed you today. Just clicked Instagram. Uh,
So hit me on DM so I see that, because I don't know if I can see the other way, but hit me on DM and I'll follow you
I
back.
did, man. Okay, I'll most
Oh,
definitely
good.
take care of that, man. So make sure you stay safe and stay blessed, man.
Hey man, as well. It's good talking with you, man. Great questions too. I've been interviewing since 10 o'clock this morning. This is the best one so far, man. It was really good.
Thank you.
All
Love you.
right,
Peace
man.
out.
Be safe, man. No doubt.
Uh.
Be safe.